What's up, guys? So the red spoilers were released yesterday night and they actually look pretty good. I think Volga's the one that stuck out to me the most, but I'm just going to cover some of the other ones real quick. For Melgus himself, I didn't see anything too interesting. I know a lot of people have been talking about maybe some kind of like Hydromonica or laying the foundation or Cheshire Cat for now, kind of way to stack your deck so that you can deactivate and use this effect. But I still think without any way to get the ruler side of this card to deactivate faster, it just doesn't really make sense to pay 4 to put, even if you do somehow hit 3/3s, which I think is like completely unrealistic. It just seems like it's not gonna work that well, and then it just seems like, I don't know, and then you have to run the Regalia and have the Regalia too. I mean the Memoria, so if you haven't seen the Memoria at all, like, it makes it even harder. And then if you're running 4 of them to see them more often, you're going to want to use the 4 effect, which is still not guaranteed, so it just seems kind of all over the place and weird, I guess. But we might see. I still think that, like I said in the other video, it'd be kind of really cool if we got some kind of like Regalia for that ruler, and then it would just work for all of them, and it would be like you can tap it to pay 1 less void to deactivate or something. So as of right now, from what we've seen, I'm still a little underwhelmed by the J ruler kind of cards in this set, but the rest of the stuff was still pretty cool. The Memoria itself, just to cover that real quick, it's 3 to do 100 damage. I think they did this just to be safe, because I guess they didn't want, you know, an accidental like burn format happening after rotation. This might have been like too much if it was just a 2 cost after, you know, all the cards are spoiled or something. But typically, I think the art looks really cool. I mean, the dragon looks really cool, but this card seems really underwhelming as well. I think they're just kind of trying to like make sure they don't make anything too strong so that everything kind of falls into place right after rotation, which I think is still a pretty good way to go about it. The Flame Soldier of Volga, it was a 1-drop 3/3, and whenever that card is dealt damage, it gives itself plus 200 in swiftness. Kind of also underwhelming. It becomes like a 5. Like, the only way to really trigger it I can think of is to use that new field spell, which does 200 to everything. If I'll have everything in all the pictures of all the cards in the description, by the way. But it does 200 to everything if you control a resonator. It does 200 to every resonator, so it would make this card essentially a 500 100 with swiftness. But then, like, for next format anyway, we still have Cthulhu, which is like so much better essentially. So this card was kind of like a sleeper. I didn't really like care too much for it either. The arena itself though, the arena was tapped. This card deals 200 damage to each resonator, like I mentioned the combo with the previous card, and you can only play this ability if you control a resonator. That might actually be really strong, depending on if you can even get at least 2 on the field. Being a 1-drop makes it pretty easy to use too, and it does kill Cheshire Cat next format for anyone still maybe playing Alice World or something. So this is kind of an interesting card. I would have to see. I mean, doing 200 to even your Rook Egg in their field feels pretty nice, because like you would be able to wipe out all their like Familiar of Holy Winds and Cheshire Cats, and then your Rook Egg would trigger. And then, or if you have like a Guinevere, it would still leave it at like 200 defense. And then if they try to respond with something to kill her off, you could just like use the draw effect anyway, just by banishing herself. So it seems like it would work really good with those cards, which aren't getting rotated out. But generally, I thought I'm gonna kind of have to see what everything else is, because if you don't double up on this card, it is kind of weak. I mean, yeah, you can do it like during draw, recover, and do it again, but then it's gonna stay that way. You're not gonna be able to double up on it unless you wait, which is not that fun. So I'll have to see depending on the other spoilers. And then there was the blood-covered War Axe, which was added resonator gains 400 attack, I believe, no defense. And whenever that card deals damage, it deals 200 damage to each other resonator. That card seemed really good. I mean, that card with Lancelot means it automatically makes him into 1,000. And then when he attacks, he does 200 to everything. And then let's say if you had like a Lucifer and it was like your only card, he could do 700 to the Lucifer, and then the 200 from Axe would make it exactly 900, and it would die, which I think is really strong. The only thing I think is a little overhyped about this card is the fact that if they only control a Lancelot, and I know that that's not really going to happen because they can summon like Rook Eggs and stuff too, but if Lancelot attacks, it's forced to target, and if you don't control any creatures, it's going to have to target itself, and if it deals 700 damage to itself and then another 200, it's gonna end up pretty much dying. So I think, and then not to mention that like if you use a kill spell, it falls off, and then they lose 2 cards. So it does seem like a pretty good card, but I don't know yet. I think the one thing people weren't recognizing about this card though, that was more important to me since I'm so much into the lore and whatnot, is I think this is the axe the little dread looking card was holding in one of the arts we saw when the set was still kind of being spoiled just by art. There was this girl that looked just like Little Dread, and she was holding a giant battle axe. And it would be really cool if this is kind of like a hint to her effect, kind of how like Blessing of Athena does 500 to you, and Athena can do damage, so it's kind of like the same thing. Maybe Little Dread says something like when this, well, the new Little Dread, if that is Little Dread, says something like when this card attacks, you can deal like 200 damage to everything. And then if you like gave her this axe, it's like she's doing 400 to everything or something. So that seems pretty cool. But yeah, so I think the axe is pretty good, but I'm gonna have to see what kind of kill spells we get. It's quite possible that maybe they I've been waiting for red. This might be a little too strong, but cards like Temporal Curtain and Savior of Splendor, I'm kind of anticipating we're gonna end up getting one for red. So I don't know how I'm pretty sure if it was just a 1-drop, it might be too good to just be able to remove any red creature from the game right away. But I mean, we have it for darkness, so I don't know why it would be too much. I'm not too sure how that would work, but because it does seem like they're slowing down the cards a lot for next set, because none of these cards really have swiftness. So it's quite possible that these aren't as like intimidating as they might seem, and it's just kind of the idea with like Thunder and Split and what we're used to so far making it seem that way. So we'll have to see. But the next card was, I believe, the Bloodfire Dragon. It was a flying 5/5 1-drop, and it said when this card enters your field, it deals 500 damage to target resonator you control. Travis is actually Travis is already always on the Facebook groups. Like, I feel like if I don't even use his last name, I think it's like Mepherson or something. I'm really bad with pronunciations, but he's the quickest to say anything about anything, and I think that's really funny. Like, he's just so on it, and he's always just like lurking, and it's pretty cool. But he was the first to mention that if you use this on turn 1 and then give it +2/+2 at reflect, you can kind of just like target itself, and then you just pass and you get a 5/5 1-drop with flying. But I am a little worried that like because we're still gonna have Susano next format, it might be like if they have like an Elvish Priest and you're going second and that was your play, then on turn 2 they could just like tap 3 and summon Susano and you kind of lose. So I still, for right now anyway, for this format, I don't know if running any dragons, especially like earlier on dragons that are just meant to push for damage, is worth it. Guiber like essentially wins the game, so it's like worth the Susano risk, but I don't think this card's going to be, so I don't really think it's going to see play. But generally all the spoilers were kind of like, I don't know, I wasn't too surprised by anything. The axe seemed pretty good and the arena seemed pretty good, but I feel like it really depends on like us seeing the entire set before we say anything. But the one standalone card that I didn't really pay attention to enough, that is, you know, the reason why I actually liked the red, was the Volga himself. So it was a 2-red 4/4. I'll probably have it as the like cover page for this video because I don't have the time to edit all of them in here, which makes me feel really bad. So sorry if you guys didn't get to see any of the cards I'm talking about. It'll definitely be in the description so you guys can kind of look them over. But I know that the one I really wanted to focus on was Volga, because I think that card's kind of like secretly really good. Like, it's like whenever this card is dealt damage, it deals damage to your opponent. It, in a way, I feel like can kind of have like unblockable attached to it, because like, let's say if you're playing against, like if they block with the Cheshire Cat, it's like the only safe option. But even if they block with like a Morgiana, I know this is going to be completely different soon because I'm using like old cards as example, but especially if you find a way to pump this to keep it alive, maybe even use like Muse to protect it. I remember somebody like mentioned like if you have Volga Muse and then like the field spell, you can do like 200 to everything and none of your cards will take damage, but all of theirs will, and then they'll take 200 damage for Volga's effect, because well, I don't know if Muse says prevented or I think it says depleted. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the burn effect would still go through if you have Muse. I'll double check later, but even without Muse, I mean, with him having 400, you can tap the field spell to do 200, so your opponent takes 200 damage, which is honestly like a lot for like the fact that you're also getting in just like the field wipe. or whatever, like all the mini damage, for them to just randomly take another 200 is really good. I mean, the Memoria costs 3 to do 100 damage. Even the old Melgus, like ruler, costs 2 red to do 200 damage. And you're getting a free 200 damage off this card for like board wiping them essentially, which I think is pretty strong. And then if you do find a way, like if we get like relevant pump cards, it might be interesting to think like, I'm just like thinking of combos, I guess, where like if we get cards that like all these red cards seem like they like kind of hinder you in a way because it's kind of like to both players, and maybe if you can use like Athena or something, or anything that like does damage to you and you can get your life lower than theirs, maybe even like the first life for a little bit, you can use stuff like Bullet of Envy. And if you put like Bullet of Envy on this card and swing for like 13, and even if they have like, or like swing into like a Lancelot, to be able to like trade and then still do like 600 to them because the Lancelot's attack was 600 and you took 600, seems really strong. Like it makes it seem like he's a really good resonator to trade with, because essentially you're still getting some damage in and taking out the cards. You don't feel like you like, oh man, I could have attacked directly, but I really have to get rid of this card. It seems really strong to be able to like take out the card and then still get something for it. So yeah, generally, and I really like the art. Like, I'm typically not one for buff old man with like really big beards, but yeah, there's just something cool about this card. He looks really cool. Like, he's like super determined. Like I'm like really curious to see what the story behind him and Melgus' fight was, because like Melgus looks like this guy can like stomp on him and he'll just die. So I don't know how Melgus won. It would be really cool if it's like secretly his dad or something. I don't know if that was already like announced, but like it's like father versus son, fire versus fire, and then like Agni Kai, because I'm obsessed with that. I'm never letting that go, by the way. Like, for anyone that hasn't seen my Alex Cyrus video, I literally have a link to the Agni Kai fight in Avatar in that description. So if you want to go watch that fight, you can. That's literally now what I'm like trying to imagine Melgus's and Volga's fight. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the spoilers. Once again, they'll be in the description if you guys want to kind of overlook them. Let me know what you thought was maybe a little too strong, maybe not as strong. I don't think anyone should be a little too worried about the Axe and Lancelot just yet. I think it's like we already have Ami no Habakiri, and I feel like that's better. And if people were going to play like more of those, I feel like already would have been. And I know the Axe is only 1 and it does like damage to everything, but it just seems like Ami no Habakiri is just so much stronger. So let me know what you guys think, especially because it gives defense. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the bottom or respond on Facebook, either way. And then if you guys have any questions about any of the spoilers, any rulings or anything, leave that in the comment section below as well. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you do, because I will be having more spoiler videos coming out really soon. And I still have to finish the discussion video on Millennia of Ages for rotation and Vingolf. So those will all be coming really soon. Thanks guys, and I'll definitely catch you guys next time.